culture.
Think about it.
That's a weird culture. Yeah, I got a bunch of stories about.
Oh, you got stories.
I mean,
I don't know if we should go any further with these stories.
well, what have y'all been up to?
What we've been up to. I think y'all know what I've been up to, but I'll say it out loud.
Yeah,
I had the COVID.
the COVID.
You mean the coronavirus?
I mean, the murder bees got me.
Did they
Many murder hornets.
Yeah, the hornet.
did they tell you what variety you had?
Nah, Walmart doesn't say that much.
No.
Nah,
And you know Walmart
I
ain't
got the
sending that shit
Walmart
off.
variant.
So, how long?
The Walmart variant. Did you pick that shit up for $1.99?
Yeah, it's on clearance. So, how long do you have it?
I would
mean-
say of my 10 days of isolation, and let me tell you how fun that was to have during your birthday. I'm going to say 8 days of that was solid symptoms, but tapered off, towards that 8th day. And then the rest of it was just obligated
Right.
time in isolation to think about my actions.
Run us through the downfall and the
Yeah, let's hear about this.
how'd you
I got off work and came home, and Brittany had a home test. I was like, shit. So I went ahead and took a nap because I got off night shift that day, and then woke up, and I was kind of achy, and I was like, double shit. Double shit. So thus begun day one.
day one?
It's, like a little bit of a headache, a little bit of some aches. Tylenol, crushed it pretty good. I did a telehealth thing and got me some ivermectin, got me some
Right
hydroxychloroquine, got me the vitamins, got
Yeah.
me some steroids and baby aspirin and all the good stuff, the
Yeah.
regimen.
You could have just called me.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm
but
kidding. But
no, I mean, it was just some aches, a little bit of a headache, some sinus stuff for sure. But, the worst part was it wasn't the worst part. Me and Brittany had quality time.
Yeah,
10 days of quality time.
yeah.
And you know what? That was, in a way, a blessing.
And she did fine.
She did good. She did better than me. I lost my taste and smell on my birthday. That was day 4. And I've still not got it back, and we're past that at this point. So
It's weird.
I'm ready to have that back. She had no smell for like 2 days, and then she got it back.
And you lost it all.
And now I'm teaching her to make beer because I can't do it with no taste and smell. So.
That's a need to have taste and smell making beer.
It's important. It's frustrating to not have.
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
I might just crowdsource taste testing and smell testing at this point
Yeah.
if it never comes back. But
Oh, it's going to come back.
they say it's coming back.
It's going to come back.
Chase just said it's coming back.
It's coming back. It's coming back. So
That's what's new with me. Freshly recovered, feeling good, feeling great. How are things?
I hope it comes back quick.
well, I missed my. I saw Monty, of course, but I didn't see you for 10 or so days. My fireside buddy.
He said, "Of course," like we always see each other.
I was like, he's over there, I'm over here. He's at his house, which is a mile away from the brew house,
Yeah, like a mile and a half.
and couldn't hang out.
No, it sucked.
Guys, you might want to be careful with that.
My birthday
Cole
buddy.
could have stalkers, guys.
My birthday buddy has the same birthday as me. He went to the brew house. He's like, man, I'm going to come have a beer on your porch and you can stay inside. I was like, dude, I'm going to bed. Like, I don't even have it in me. It's 9 o'clock. I'm wore out and depressed. I'm over it. I hate everything. Going to bed. Don't come have a beer on my porch while I'm in bed.
Right.
I love you. I want that beer with you. We will have it rain check, but not birthday number 29. Not
That's
that one.
horrible.
Man.
Not the one.
I could tell you're down and out, but I gotta have fun and make laughs, no matter how you're feeling at the time.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah. I mean, we were there for you. I mean,
I appreciate
I
the
built the
fireside
fires.
pictures
yeah.
just to really help me stay warm in the
Yeah.
cold nights.
Where you been, Monty? You been
Oh, I've been all over the place. Actually, I've just been in Nashville.
Nashville. Close enough. Yeah, that's far enough.
So what probably listeners don't know is my wife is a horse vet. So we went to American Association of Equine Practitioners Convention in Nashville. Had a good time for like Sunday through Wednesday. We went.
Got a crispy new T-shirt.
You do.
I see.
Oh, yeah, I just happened to go to Bearded Iris while I was there.
They're new. Did you go to the old one?
No, I went to the new bar.
At the west side and Nations.
I believe it's off Monroe Avenue.
Sylvan
Sylvan.
area.
Yeah, Monroe Avenue. I believe that's what that is.
That's one of my favorite breweries in the world,
Oh, mine too.
for sure.
What you drinking on right there?
So I'm drinking on an Impressionist, which is an Imperial IPA with, I guess, Tullis, Idaho, and Citra hops.
Thought you didn't dip into the doubles. What's Imperial mean?
Oh,
I'll tell you where Imperial IPA comes from. Temecula, California. The first Imperial IPA came from Temecula, California, which means that's pretty much a double IPA.
Something high.
no, wow.
And I lived,
Something that'll get you drunk.
yeah,
Because it didn't say it on it. But it is a 9.2%.
Yeah,
So
it's
that, yeah,
But
that
it
makes
says,
sense.
It says Imperially though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's basically what that
No,
means.
I'm saying like it doesn't say double. The other one, like I have one that says double.
It is funny that they'll make the distinction. They'll
Yeah,
say
they'll put
double and then they'll say Imperial. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's strange.
I think Imperial's a wider range. Imperial could technically dip into the triple range, I think.
okay.
But
so-
if you say Imperial, I don't know what the rules are about using the word.
Well, the session IPA is like, what, 4 or 5%?
know that. I didn't say that.
Yeah, a session beer is 4 or 5% alcohol. So
Less than 5.
less than 5 for sure.
Yeah, that's the rule for session, just less than 5.
So
Well, thank you all for educating me on this.
Well, whatever. I mean, I don't. Hey, we talked about this on the Derailed once, but me or you could probably give a educational seminar here about where IPAs.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Pale ales. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did talk about that on Derailed.
The story I remember was the British Army.
Yep.
Was it in World War II? Fuck if I know. That's right.
But it was back then, somewhere back then.
So they were brewing pale ales, and they were sending them to their troops, I think in Africa or somewhere.
They had to go around
They
The
had-
Gold,
Cape.
it was like the
There.
Gold Coast.
They had
right?
to, they had to go around Africa.
And by the time the beer got there, the beer would go bad.
They're going to India.
India. That's right.
They're going to India.
Who would have thought?
Really? And it's called India Pale Ale?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they needed the hops to make the trip there.
So
they would
they didn't know it's about like bourbon. They didn't know they were making a new style of beer.
They were
The
just-
beer was going bad by the time it got to India. So hops is a natural preservative.
Yeah.
So they would hop the shit out of the beer, and when it got to India, it was very hoppy and it had this different taste than a pale ale or just a ale, and then you got India pale ale.
I imagine somewhere in there, the brewery like kept some and they drank it fresh and they're like,
Whoa.
wow. And then,
So-
and then I'm sure the stuff that made it to India was like Damn Dirty Blonde at that point.
Right.
Who knows? But
Right.
something about because I mean, hops typically an IPA you don't want to drink it after it's aged. So I'm sure I'm sure it had some funk.
That's
but at
how
the
you
same
get
time, it
India
didn't go bad.
pale ale.
Yeah.
Comes from the Brits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of knew a little bit of that, but not all of it. So
Yeah. But
I certainly didn't know about the Imperial being a double.
well, I lived in California, the town next to Temecula where the Imperial IPA was crafted. I lived in Fallbrook, California, and Temecula was right 20 minutes down the road, bigger town. And that's some brewery there made a Imperial IPA. I guess you would call that a double. I don't know.
I told you what a California Common is, right?
No.
So Kentucky Common is a beer. It's a style that we know of. Shout out to Dreaming Creek. They have a really good one. It's one of their big ones. But Kentucky Common's sort of the way I understand it. Think of it like a amber or brown, but it's got a bunch of corn in it. Well, so Kentucky Common. So think of California Common. They call it a steam beer. And what a California Common is, it's just a beer brewed with lager yeast, not at lager temperatures. It's hot there, so you can't naturally, historically, back in the day, whatever, you couldn't have like a 50-degree ferment temperature in California. Where the fuck are you gonna find 50 degrees anywhere? So they did it with lager yeast. Maybe that's just what they had, but it was hot, so they called it a steam beer. And so it's a California Common, and Bold Patriot has one. Shout out to Bold
really?
Patriot in Nashville.
Yeah.
But
I went right by there. I mean, it was right there when we left. I guess right when we left Bearded Iris.
It's close.
Right, it's real close
yes,
there.
it is very close.
Yeah. And Southern Grist is close to that, I think. There's about 5, I think, that are popped up there in the last.
We should go.
We should go.
Yeah, I think I'm going in January.
Live podcast from Bold Patriot.
I'm for it.
I don't know.
Let's do it.
I don't know that they'll allow that.
Oh, they'll allow it. They're
Shit,
good
if I do it.
people. They're good people.
But I did like the vibe in
Bearded Iris.
Bearded Iris.
It's a good spot.
Have you been to the original?
No.
Very industrial. Like that is like sleek and suede, whereas the other is industrial.
Well, and so the guy that was up front at the bar, I told him, I said, I just put Bearded Iris in. This is where it brought me. This is not what I was expecting from what people had told me. He's like, yeah, this is our new facility. The other one's more industrial, more.
Yeah, the first time it was the middle of summer, and at that time I didn't drink IPAs. Some people just don't have that palate.
So what you're saying is you were a little bitch back then.
Yeah, I was, and
I'm kidding.
yeah, I was.
Everybody's got their own taste. Yeah, I'm totally
not
kidding
kidding.
with that.
I went. Friends of mine, Robert and Mariah, lived in Germantown. That's pretty much where the original is. And he said, "Let's go down to this brewery right down the road." And we walked in there, and you drive up to it. It's just a cinder block building, and it was 90 degrees outside, and there's no AC. And
Right by that electrical.
yeah, like there's a substation there, and you drive up. It's a cinder block building, white, and you just walk up, and you walk up some stairs. Then was no picnic tables or anything.
They have the silos then?
No. And we walked in, all the lights were off, and they had a fan going in there, and the brewing equipment's off to the left. It's a pretty big brewing equipment, but it had a pool table and a bar. I mean, just some taps, and it was cooler inside than it was outside, but not much, and it had a kind of a hipster feel to it. And I walked up and I was looking at the menu, and it was just like they had I don't even know if they had the Pilsner then, and it was like all IPAs, and I was like, I don't even drink IPAs, but give me whatever. I think it was a home style. Got one. I was like, I'm going to drink it, and
First hazy.
And that changed it
but
for you.
I got drunk
Ah.
on hazy IPA. Not drunk, but I drank 2 or 3, and then it kind of opened my palate.
Didn't leave after one.
No, we stayed there, and of course we hit other places after that, but it was a very unique place. It's a very, I don't know, it's not like a place where they spend a lot of money into the tap room. It was like,
Just brewing, more so.
You can come in and have a beer if you want. We're
if
making
you
beer.
want. But the thing about Bearded Iris is they make good beer.
That's it.
It doesn't matter what the inside look like. It doesn't matter they make good beer, and people are going to come.
Well, and I think that brings up an important concept. You didn't really like IPAs, but just like House Hazy for the brew house, it's a hazy IPA. It's just smoother. Got that smoother.
It's a good beer.
Yeah, but I mean, for an IPA, it's smoother than just your normal runabout IPAs
Yeah.
to me. And so homestyle, I think it's a great one to fall into that category.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to go into IPAs, I think that's the way to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had home style in mind when we did the
Yeah.
house hazy, and frankly, like hazy IPAs, you got to put them in a different category. Like I hate to even say, when I tell people, you know, like they'll ask, you know, IPA, what's your IPA situation? It's like, well, we have a hazy IPA, but I gotta say the word hazy. Like I'm not gonna call it just an IPA because
Right.
that's almost not even fair to say. Like we've done the pale ale, and that's it. You know, like we need to do some normal IPAs, but frankly, you know, it's another ball game in the sense that, like, you know, it's another market. Like a lot of us at the brew house, we really like hazy IPAs, and like a lot of us really like regular IPAs and West Coast IPAs and double IPAs, you know, like, and we'll do it. And it's just a matter of we are trying to keep up. Like we've got ourselves into a situation where we're making blondes and hazies,
Yeah.
and people drink them so fast that we have to keep making them because,
Right.
you know, we want to make a West Coast and a double and a regular, like 37 Flood, phenomenal beer, local beer. You know, before I break my balls to make a regular IPA, I'll just as soon point someone to 37 Flood.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Dry Ground.
Yeah.
But
Good beer too.
We'll, I mean,
yeah.
we'll make regular
That's a
IPAs
good beer.
eventually, but that's, you know, that as small as we are, we've kind of put ourselves in this corner making the blonde and the you know, jittery jazz and the red and the Dortmunder and the
But they're all
house
good.
hazy. Yeah, they're good, and you know, we very much go to our market. Just like Dry Ground goes to their market, just like Beard Iris goes to their market, which happens to splash into our market. You know, like
Yeah.
everyone loves that stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, you can't. I mean, if it's good beer, it's good beer.
good beer's good beer.
That's it. And yeah, I think speaking to your market's all you can do if you're trying to run a business anyway.
Yeah.
So,
You have to have good beer.
Got to.
And Bearded Iris is top 5.
well,
They're good.
when I was there yesterday, he told me he said, you know, if you want a West Coast IPA, we have one.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that's just not their market per se. I mean, you know, they're known for hazy
Yeah, everything.
IPAs. I mean,
Hazy sours, hazy,
yeah.
a lot of things. But
We did buy one of their sours. We haven't tried it yet, but just bought a 4-pack to try. But no, haven't tried it yet. But I'd certainly like to.
Well,
I like sours as well. Well, I like beer. That's my problem.
yeah. So what else do you do in Nashville?
Oh
Anything
yeah,
fun?
yeah. We got way off on the subject on that, didn't we? So,
The old T-shirt really sent us on a path.
well, I do. Yeah, I bought a T-shirt.
I do. I can't help it. I love Bearded Iris.
I do too. I mean, I just
Hey, the T-shirt led to the first time being their story, which led to the first time being their
Yeah.
story, which led to the
yeah, it all ties.
Yeah.
I mean, but so
anyway,
the first night we were there, we went to dinner and then ended up catching the Mavericks at the Ramen. Mm-hmm. Good show.
I love the ramen.
Oh man,
Yeah.
You can't have a bad seat in that place. That's what I do like.
Unless
about
you're
it.
behind one of those pedestals in the bottom.
Oh yeah. Well, we were up top.
I prefer the balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in the
balcony.
balcony. Yeah, we were off to the right side of the balcony, but man, and I will say about the Mavericks, they have a lot of trumpet in their stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that rocked. And I'm not like I don't know. I'm normally not like a trumpet guy, but man, I think
They were cool when
Yeah.
I was growing up.
yeah in the '90s. Yeah,
they were
so he
different.
has. So I'm sitting here looking at Cole, knowing he has no idea what I'm talking about.
I also like trumpet.
I don't care. I heard Amos Lee.
I voted for him in the last election.
The trumpet.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Did it just cut out for anyone else? Maybe that was
No,
me.
just
That was me. That was
no,
me.
it automatically cuts out when people
I
say
bumped
those words on
Bumped-
podcasts.
that was the meta. The metaverse just kicked in and muted me. Oh god.
you can't hear anything. I don't think anybody that will play the rhyme would be bad anyways. But hearing music at the Ryman, it's just like you feel it. You feel it because
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot
It's
of
right
history.
there.
Yeah, it's the mother church of country music, and I mean, I don't care. I'd go hear somebody talk there probably. Jordan Peterson's going to be there. I think.
Oh, I'd love to see Jordan Peterson.
Me too. Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to be there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he did live events.
Well, I guess he does.
Does in Nashville.
I saw Amos Lee there a few years ago, and it was amazing because that dude's got some pipes on him, anyways. And they got the Opry House now down there by the mall, and where Opryland used to be, and it's fine. It's a show, but I remember my grandmother telling me that they used to go to the Opry back in, I don't know when, 70s, 60s. And they went one night, and
So you're talking about the Grand Ole Opry.
the Grand Ole Opry.
You're right.
Yeah. When it was still at the Ryman. And they were there one night, and Elvis showed up. And, of course, he didn't sing, but they brought him on stage, and he kind of just walked across the stage, and the place just went nuts, because he loved country music too. But if there's one of those times, it's like, if you go back in time and go somewhere, it's like, I'd like to hear the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman back in when Hank Williams, and the heyday.
Back when Keeping Up with Willie was the name of the game.
Oh, and see Patsy Cline and all them at the Ryman.
Yeah, and so just getting back a little bit to what else I did. The next night, I think it was at the Country Music Hall of Fame. It was like the ballroom area of that, which was right next to we stayed in the Omni, so it was right next to there. And it was Win Varble. Mm-hmm. This guy, I guess, has wrote a lot of songs for George Strait. Just an awesome songwriter and tells the funniest stories, man. This dude, it was kind of a storytelling, that's what they called it. And then they had these guys on, but it was him, Rory. What's Rory's last name?
Rory Feek.
Yeah, Rory Feek. Uh-huh. He was there, as well as Bryce Long. Mm-hmm. And Bryce Long's, like Daryl Worley's recorded some of his. John Party, I believe, has also played some of their songs. Him as well as Rory, I believe. But I think John Party's done some of his songs as well.
Rory is a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah, and I didn't realize, but so we had two of my wife's employees at her vet clinic. They were there. She saw Rory right away. One of the vet tech that we have, and went and said hi to him. He right away, super nice, grabbed her phone, took a selfie with her.
Yeah,
and
great guy.
Oh yeah, and she went and bought his children's book.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had wrote children's books, but I guess he's wrote two of those. She also bought his regular book. I mean, it was a cool deal.
I've been to his farm probably 3 or 4 times, and it's outside of Columbia, Tennessee, and he has his own music barn, which when it was Rory and Joey, his wife,
she died of cancer.
She died of cancer, and they had their own show, like a country show, and he's turned that into like a music barn, and he has shows every now and then. So when Joey passed, he was left with a child that was young, and she has Down syndrome, and
I saw her there that night.
Yeah, and beautiful girl.
Yeah, she was actually selling his books and stuff, helping at the stand.
He has 2 other daughters that are older, but his farm there outside of Columbia, Hardison Mill, I think if I'm right, Hardison Mill, he built a school on their farm, a 1-room schoolhouse, because his daughter had, I could screw this story up a little bit, but his daughter, was going to preschool or somewhere. So he actually built a 1-room schoolhouse on their farm, and you can look it up at Hardison Mill or Rory Feek. And he said anybody from the community can come. They hired a teacher
Oh, that's awesome.
to teach these young kids and taught them reading, writing, arithmetic, but also taught them how to take care of animals, how to, grow a garden. It's more of a
Balance a checkbook.
rural.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't know, but if you look it up, I mean, it's a cool place. His farm. It's a music barn and a one room schoolhouse with a garden and animals, and they teach them more about rural life. If you ever look into Rory, I mean, you'll see that he is, the rural person, and he's a great guy. I've met him 3 or 4 times and have conversations with him. Benny's met him. I mean, and he is a hell of a songwriter. And that story, if you get a chance, look up their story. There's a documentary about it, and it's pretty heavy, but he threw a lot on the line to tell that story and to document their life, and it's out there. And yeah, for you to see him,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
Hell yeah, dude.
well, I mean, I like Rory a lot. And I'm not downplaying that by any means
Yeah.
when I say the other Win Varble. I've actually flew on a plane with Bryce Long right here a few years ago. We just happened to be taking an early morning flight. He happened to be on the flight, so I'd saw him before. Never heard him sing. Never heard him. He told some stories as well. Because it was about storytelling as well. So they were telling stories and then singing. But Win Varble, man, that guy is hilarious, just hilarious,
yeah.
and just told a lot of funny stories. Well, just in general, a lot of funny stories. And then knowing the songs he's wrote for like George Strait, it was funny because one of them he said, "Yeah, I wrote this song for George Strait. He heard it. He didn't record it. I don't guess he liked it nearly as much as I did for him."
Yeah.
And then he sang it. And I think actually somebody else, John Party, I believe, actually recorded it after that. But yeah, it was funny that he was talking about that and saying, "Hey, I wrote this specifically for George Strait, being that he's cut these, songs for me, but he didn't want any part of this one."
Well, it
was kind of funny.
It's always good to hear people's stories, their life, and that's what him and Rory. If you go to Rory's music bar and get tickets there, you'll hear his life story. He's going to tell you from the beginning to end, pretty much what happened to him, and I think it's important to hear people's stories. And God bless him for laying it all out there, because it's hard. It's like Rory's story is pretty tragic, but he wants people to hear it and know I think his biggest thing is, live a good life, and you got to hear people's stories. That's like us talking here. There's 3 different opinions about everything probably here. I mean, we feel the same about most things pretty much, but the world we live in today, it's like social media and the media. It's like everybody's at everybody's throats, and I feel like if you sit down and talk about something, I always say your opinions, your ideas, you better hold them on loosely right now, because you're not getting all the story. Like something happens in the world, and you better wait a couple of days till you get some more data.
Oh, no doubt these days.
You know what I mean?
No.
And I think if people would sit down and actually talk face to face and not over social media.
You have a lot more in common than you realize.
You do.
Yes.
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 If you sit down and look each other in the eye, you can figure some stuff out. And most of the time, it's not as bad as you think.
Well, I'm thinking of about 12 people right now that will disagree with me on anything that will show up on a ballot. And I have conversations on end with these people, love these people. I have more in common with these people than what is on that piece of paper.
Oh, no doubt.
See, that's how they tore us apart
Oh, no doubt.
as a nation. Social media. I think texting and social media and all that is the worst way to communicate with somebody that you're not going to change their opinion.
No.
And
But you shouldn't even really be trying to, per se, anyway. I mean,
sit down like this and look them and just have a conversation.
I don't want 50 friends that are me.
right.
I like the people I know because they're not me. They're different.
Well, what Granddad says is, if everybody thought the same, everybody'd be after Grandma.
Sure. That's a very good
I
point.
like that.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you sit down and talk to people, most of the time you have more in common with them than you think than seeing a Facebook or a Twitter post or.
I'll give you a good example. This ties in. It's so funny because you know we've been talking. I took this trip to Nashville. The night I haven't talked about yet is we went to Wild Horse Saloon.
You went to a strip club?
No
sorry.
strip club.
There's only like 2 in Nashville. I can
What
tell
are you
you.
talking about? How do you know this?
I do know this because I've been to one.
Yeah, I have too, actually. Anyway,
It's not a good experience.
but speaking of, we went to Wild Horse Saloon the last night. It was a Zoetis sponsored thing. Chris Jansen
He's awesome.
gave a private concert for that. And it's funny when I mentioned Chris Jansen here a few years ago. We had this same convention down in Nashville, and he was there signing autographs at one of the booths before he hit it. I think he might have had one good song out at the time or something, and so he was signing autographs at one of the booths in the convention center, and my wife was over there, and she's a horse vet. She's from Missouri. Mm-hmm. He's from Missouri as well. He's from Perryville, Missouri. My wife's from Jackson, Missouri.
How far is that apart?
Not very.
Okay.
They both showed walking horses.
Really?
And we got up there, and he's
Are
like...
they about the same age?
He's younger than she is. By quite a few years, I believe. But anyway, we get up there to the signing area, and he's like, "Hey, Kim," my wife's name, and she's like, I see this, but how do I know you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we showed horses together walking horses together back when." Yeah. So he knew her, but she didn't really remember him well. One of our friends said, "You don't remember the curly-headed little kid that showed these horses?" And talked about his aunt. And then she's like, "Well, I kind of remember his aunt now that you mention it." And I kind of remember him being around, but he was younger, so she didn't.
It's a small world.
It's kind of funny that worked out that way.
It's a small world.
It's kind of like the go-kart world in our area. It's small, sort of,
small.
I don't, like names and stuff, I don't really know. It's, something similar to kind of what that guy was probably experiencing. Like, I know faces, but my stepdad, Jerry, he will always talk about back in the go-kart days, like TK Raceway. We go over to Sykeston. We go over down to Atoka, Tennessee, Muhlenberg County, Kentucky. We go racing. And, I've seen these faces. I've heard these names. I've talked to these people. And, at the time, I was a little squirt. So, and then anymore, it's either one of them comes in the brew house maybe. "Oh, you remember me?" Oh,
there you go.
It's a
you know
small
what?
world.
I do, but I don't know why I do. Why do I? And they tell me, or something like that. See their name, see their face, make the connection to the aunt or something.
But so where I was going instead of actually watching the concert, though, we just happened once we got to the Wild Horse, we had drink tickets. We got us a drink.
Get you a drink, dude. Get you a drink.
Yeah, free drink, so why not? So then we go to, there's a pool table. We're on the second floor. We go to the pool table, and we're sitting there, just me and Kim playing for a while. And all of a sudden we look, and there's these two people watching us, a couple. You can tell they're a couple.
Winking.
What?
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No, but I'm like, I can tell they're pretty enthused with watching us play pool. I was like, "Hey, you guys want to join us?" And they were like, "Yeah, 2-on-2?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do that." And start playing. They're from Maryland. probably completely different on the ballot
Yeah.
spectrum as what,
Yeah.
what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Had a great time. I bet you we played 10 games of pool. Just talk back and forth. She was a vet. Her husband he worked for the state in Maryland
Yeah.
in environmental, I think kind of like, I believe like, I can't remember exactly. It was something to do with like environmental regulation of some sort. So,
EPA, like government?
yeah,
Yeah.
but state EPA
Okay.
instead of federal.
Gotcha.
Is what he did. Liked watching birds.
Gotcha.
He was a bird watcher.
Yeah.
But they kind of did outdoor activities, kind of like us.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that sort of thing. But man, we got along so well. But probably completely all on the other end of the spectrum when it comes. We're very rural living. They live very near Baltimore.
Yeah.
But got along fantastic.
Two different lifestyles, but
Yep.
that's what I say. If you sit down with people and have a conversation with them, 99% of the time, you have a lot in common.
Yeah, and
Because we're human.
Yeah, that's
We're
it.
all human. We're all going through the human experience.
And the media is trying to separate us, but
They
at the end of the day,
Media and stresses of life, and they just try to tear us apart.
but now to get back to what Cole mentioned, so you used to race go-karts.
I did.
I did too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you race a TK?
I raced in Draftonville.
TK?
TK, yeah. Yeah.
Open or caged?
Open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jason did too, right?
Yeah, Jason Rohn did too.
I didn't know.
Do you remember
this.
him from back then?
No, I don't remember.
I don't either.
A very little
His
time
face is
period I did.
familiar in that regard. Like, I feel like I remember again, back what I was saying. Like, I feel like I remember Jason's face, but then seeing him at the brew house, like,
You didn't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, go on. I mean, I was just bringing up the fact
Gotcha.
that I knew you race go-karts, but not everybody does. And
Yeah.
I didn't know, I didn't know how much of that you were involved in or how heavily you were involved in that or.
So, okay. I'll say this. I was
The
young.
GOAT.
I was pretty young. No, I was pretty.
He was the Michael Jordan of go-kart racing.
No, I was pretty young. So my stepdad was the GOAT. Was Michael Jordan. You put the go-kart on the scales. Like each tire has a scale, so there's 4 scales, and then you tune it in. And so it's like you're shifting weight this way, this way,
Yeah.
this. Like he was really good at that stuff. You tilt the tire this way, this
Right.
way, this. You treat the tire with this and this. Like he was really good at that stuff. So he raced and everything. And so whenever me and my sister and my mom came along, he kind of really wanted to get us into it, and he did. And so it started with my sister, and she really did. Like she was kind of the GOAT. She dominated like her class, and I started a class below her, so it was kind of like in school. By the time I got into her class, she was at she kind of stopped racing. But anyway, so I did okay. We went and one of the places
I did okay.
one of the-
I won't ever race.
2 of the places we went a lot was in Muhlenberg County and then in Sikeston, Missouri. Sikeston had more people than Muhlenberg did. But my last race, I always did okay. I won sometimes, but I didn't win every time. The last race I ever did, this is actually a good story. I'm going to tell this right now. I'm going to document it.
Go for it.
Last race of my life, we went to Atoka, Tennessee. So it was a very tight and small track, like the smallest oval of any of the places I've been, pretty much. And this had the most people. It was like 30 carts just in my class, and my class wasn't the most. Like I was in a cage. So like the open carts are typically a little more populated, and so it was like one of those big weekends. So we stayed in the go-kart trailer, like with the cots and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't even get a hotel. We got there. We practiced really good the day before. Practiced real good. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I've got you dialed in, dog. Like you're hitting those banks right. We got it. We got the setup." The next day, practice. a couple practice rounds, went good, and then did the qualify with the transponders and everything, and I didn't do good there, so I qualified like 9th or 10th out of 30. So this is a big money race.
Yeah.
Big money race. And
But you're in the top third.
there was an added bonus to the person in each class that passed the most people, regardless where you start and where you finish. If you pass the most people, you get like an extra $100 or something. So the final race comes. There was no heat. It was just the qualify, then the final.
Yeah.
So starting like 9th, 10th, I think I was on the outside. I can't remember. Outside. So anyway, so within like a lap or two, I'm in like third. I went from like something, the way it just worked out, just shot up there. Just, you know, sometimes literally just being, you know, like they'll throw the caution if you hit the gas too quick, if you're in the front and you're leading the pack and you just go too early. Yeah. But everyone goes early.
Yeah.
So I went early, but you know, everyone does. Yeah. But I was just in the middle of the pack, so I couldn't go anywhere. But my engine was revved up.
Right.
And so by the time I punched through, like they just moved out of my way, and I just went. Like so I was in like third before it was all said and done.
Was it like Days of Thunder? Like take a lane, Cole.
Dude. And then
Cole trickle.
Yeah.
So literally about 3 or 4 laps in, I'm in third. Trickle? I'm in third. I'm in second. And then the next thing I know, I'm in first. My stepdad's behind the gate. Go, dog, go! And then the caution comes out. Someone wrecked or something. And it's like, he's just like, no!
Yeah.
No! Yeah. So, okay, I'm in first. Yeah. So we're restarting, whatever, restarting.
Inside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, restarting. We're going around, okay, checkered flag or green flag, and I'm still in first, baby, and I'm going. Man, I won that race. They tried to protest me. They wanted to tear my motor down. They thought I was cheating. I passed the most people. I got $600 and a trophy, and they can all suck my nuts. That was my best race of my lifetime. That was my best race ever. It was like the most people I've ever raced. Won, passed the most people. They hated me. They thought I was cheating. And then they protested me, and they checked my stuff, and they couldn't find anything. Hey. And it's like, no.
And that's why I like
Stepdad's just the guru, and I just happen to not choke.
If a lot of people hate you and are yelling at you,
well, that was a lot of people's home turf.
Yeah, well, you're probably doing something right.
I didn't usually race there. I had raced there like once or twice before. That was a good story.
A little tasteful.
Jerry, if you're listening, you will appreciate me telling that story.
What do you think about that?
Woodford?
Yeah, it's Woodford.
I love Woodford. Basil's my favorite, but Woodford.
Sorry. Is it really?
I'm busting in on the end of your fantastic story, but we're just passing
it's
drinks.
Done. That's it. That's the story.
I drank Woodford until Basil came along. I still drink Woodford, but since Basil came along, I drink Basil. But
I almost sent a picture. So I sent a picture of the Basil, but I almost sent a picture of the Basil and then my hatchet in the other hand. But I only had 2 hands. I had to take a picture.
You gotta get a head mount.
Those were my birthday presents: the hatchet and the Basil.
Yeah, that's a good birthday present.
Who took the Basil to?
Brittany got me like it was already in a bag under the tree. It's like she had already done it.
So you opened it and you're like, man, I can't taste this.
One of those nights when I was particularly congested, I was gonna make a hot toddy.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, if you're gonna make a hot toddy, go ahead and open that present.
Hey, they're good for you, hot toddies.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break.
Cool? We can take a break.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
All right.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want.
So we're rolling, right?
Yeah.
We've been rolling.
All right, so
he don't take a break.
We're back from our break, and we're actually gonna get to know the chaser himself, Chase Kelly.
Yeah, who is Chase Kelly?
Who is Chase Kelly? Who are you, dude?
What do y'all think about me?
Well, I think you got like an Irish name, right? Kelly?
Yes.
And you visited Ireland recently.
I did.
Did you happen to discover, before we actually dive in, did you discover anything about your heritage while you were in Ireland?
The weird thing about going to Ireland was we didn't have a chance to go to the town where my family's from, but the second most prominent name in Ireland still to this day is Kelly.
What's the first?
Murphy.
Murphy. I believe that, man.
Yeah,
I believe
Murphy. Yeah, but you could.
I would have thought it was something with a Mick.
Well, they all used to be O's or mix or something. And
Yeah.
there's Scottish, and
Yeah.
there's a whole thing you can look up. But yeah, it was a great trip. Great trip.
that. Well,
Okay,
I've
we're
got a
done
question.
talking about you
Yeah,
now. I'm totally kidding. No,
So I've got a little opener question.
Yeah.
So this is the Life Chaser podcast. The obvious question is, what you've kind of talked about what Life Chaser means to you as a concept, but what? Let's go a little step further back. How do you chase life?
Okay, well, I think the concept came up, or idea, or before the idea, long before it even became a conversation between me and Nathan. I think,
So Nathan does 270 Media.
yeah, he's out of Calvert City, Kentucky, and great guy. And me and him, I was hiking a lot and doing crazy stuff a lot, and I can't even remember. It was probably at the brew house. It was probably something about chasing life, and I think that's how it all came about. But I think it came about in that period in my life where I was kind of a nomad.
Yeah.
I mean,
You talking about within the last couple of years, last
No.
5 years, 10 years?
last 10 years.
Okay.
10 years. And where I don't know if everybody goes through it. Most people don't, but where you kind of, you have to change as a person.
Yeah.
And if you ever have to change as a person, as it might come up, ask more questions, but I was in the military, you get out of the military, and if you get out young, you don't really know who you are anymore. You're thrown into society.
How old were you when you got out?
I was 23
23. Okay.
when I got out, and for the next 7-8 years was kind of rough, really rough, socially and life wise, and they don't give you a lot of resources or transition. They're just kind of throw you out there. You don't have your friends anymore that you've had for 4 years, and you're just kind of out there on your own. And about the age 30, I started a transition in my life where I had to change as a person for sure. And in that change, there was about a year or two period where I was kind of a nomad. I mean, I definitely talked to my parents and my inner circle, which was very small, my cousins, but I didn't talk to a lot of people. I grew a beard longer than Monty's.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Got pictures?
I did
Yeah.
see a picture of his beard. And
I wanna
it
see
was,
that.
It was pretty massive.
Sometime. I want to see that sometime.
And I just,
It was pretty
I
massive.
quit shaving, and really I just did my own thing, stayed at home, and looked internally, and it was. I did a lot of hiking in LBL. I did a lot of looking inside myself, because the doctors. I had some PTSD and some anxiety and some anger, and the doctors put me on some medicine, and which I'm not against that at all, and it did help. And I actually had a friend come stay with me. That's how severe it was. That
Was this like right after you got out?
no, it was about the age
Closer to like the
29
30 transition that you're talking
the
about.
30 transition, and y'all have heard of some of that story, but it was a rough period in my life, and I kind of pulled back to myself. It wasn't. I had to figure myself out and who I was, and to be the person I am now, which is you're always evolving. You're always it never stops. But that was the start of it, and I spent a lot of time in LBL by myself on the trails, a lot. I mean, and those hikes back then were more spiritual than they were physical or anything. You just go out there and walk, and I would walk and break down and
Talk about the
Yeah.
trails. Yeah,
yeah,
please.
I spent a lot of time on the north end, and I spent a lot of time on the canal loop because, of course, it's a loop and it's easy to walk if you want to.
Just hang out.
If you don't have two people,
Yeah, you're not going to get
So
lost.
what is the walk?
the walk on the loop, canal loop, is about 15 miles, I think.
On the
And
northern end?
end, right up there by the North Welcome Station, and it's just it's a circle. If you walk it, it's about 15 miles, I think.
11 or 15.
Yeah,
One of the two.
and- I can't.
Nowhere in between. One of the two.
And
Well, it could be somewhere in between.
just
I'm just
kidding.
saying,
I'm
like,
just
but I'm just, in my mind, for some reason, 11 came to mind.
but it might be.
But it,
I'm
it probably is 15, but
It might not be, but it's a loop, so you can park at the North Welcome Station in LBL.
Yeah.
And you can take off by yourself, and you can make a circle.
And
and 15
That many
miles is a good long walk, man. That's a long
And
walk.
I spent about a year on the north end of LBL.
and you'll loop right back to where you're parked.
Yeah, and sometimes right back.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know that actually.
yeah, it's a good loop. It's a good walk. You see Barkley Lake. You see Kentucky Lake.
Yeah, you go through all those bottom areas,
Bottoms
which I love.
and the
those
high
areas,
areas
man. I
on
don't
Do
know.
you
both
hit
sides.
like Hotel California area?
No.
No, that's more Fenton.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's you hit the high areas on the Kentucky side, and the cliff kind of looking over the lake, and then you come by the canal, under the canal bridge, and then you come around to the Barkley side. You go through some bottoms, and you come back, and you see. I mean, it's a great trail.
I think it goes by. Does it actually hit the numbers that way? I think it does, doesn't it?
It's close.
Yeah, it may not hit it, but it's close.
It's really
yeah.
close, and I spent a lot of time on that by myself, and I spent a lot of time on the north-south trail. I would just walk so many miles, I mean, until I got tired. And a lot of times I'd get up in the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep a lot. I worked midnights, and on my days off, I couldn't sleep. And I'd go out there in the middle of the night and just walk. And
Oh wow,
but
it's pretty wild.
What's some stuff you learned on the
well,
trail?
back then, and I guess my closest friend in my whole life has been my cousin, and she will tell you that I was very antisocial before then.
Yeah, that's not how I would describe you
No.
now.
Well, I
So
wasn't
it's interesting.
antisocial, but I was quiet. I was very quiet.
I think the same could be said.
Yeah.
about me.
So I would go out there and walk, and there's no pictures, there's no social media.
Yeah.
It was more of a me trying to figure myself out and who I was and who I wanted to be. And it took about 2 or 3 years for me to really shed who I was in my 20s going into my 30s. And that's just when it happened for me. It's like, I don't want to be this person. And it took a nomad lifestyle for me where I still went to work every night, every day, but I didn't talk to people. I didn't socialize. And then when I came to that point where I was like, okay, I'm going to get back into life. I'm going to start getting back in. It was almost like, I don't know how to explain it. It was hard because I didn't really know how to talk to people after that because I was still trying to figure myself out. And
I get that a lot, but I like that because you said,
but I was at that point, I wasn't thinking about chasing life. I was just thinking about actually just trying to live. I was trying to figure myself out, and the trails really, being in nature, I'm not saying the trails in LBL, but it could have been in Montana, Wyoming, it could have been in California or New York. I'm just saying that nature has a lot to do with
you figuring yourself out.
And it does with everybody. If you're going through something or you're stressed out or whatever, the best thing for you to do is to get out in nature and just feel the sun, feel the breeze, and be with yourself, figure yourself out. That's just me.
Oh,
That's what
no.
I had to do. And the medicine I was on that, they said I needed, I probably needed it beginning, but by the end of it, I was like, I don't need it.
So let me ask this. So you got out at 23, about 30. This transformation was happening, and you're 38,
38.
38 now. Mm-hmm. So almost as much time has gone by since the time we're talking about that went by since then to the time you got out. Mm-hmm. So, established that there in the 20s there. It was kind of rough. And then you transitioned there at 30. So from 30 till now, how, you learned a lot there at the turn of the decade there. Mm-hmm. And kind of how have you applied that in the past decade?
I think after that, about when I was about 35, I really, I don't know if you call it Zen. I don't know if you call it getting older.
We'll call it Zen.
Yeah, it's like I don't care I figured out that no matter who you come in contact with, and I think I had this preconception before, that no matter, everybody's got something going on in their life. I don't care how big or small that problem is. Everybody has something going on in their life, and nobody's perfect.
No, certainly not.
And this day and age compared to when we were growing up, Monty, now you look on social...
Thank you for saying his name, not including me.
Well, I mean, it might be the same. It might be the same for you.
I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Well,
I know.
Cole,
I know.
nobody thinks of you, man.
I
mean, you've got a perfect life.
Yeah.
Man, you've got a perfect life. You're a chemist.
But
I was trying to make an age joke. Damn it. Damn it.
But before, when I was growing up, there was no social media.
Right.
No internet.
Me either. You know this.
And now...
I can say there was not when I was growing up.
Like what, until you were 3?
I can say that. I mean, not everyone in the room, not pointing fingers, just kidding. But we can't all say that in the room.
Yeah. But if you remember that...
Just kidding.
Now, almost everybody, I'm not saying, I think it's swung a little bit the other way, but most people now, but their best version of themselves
out there. Yeah.
And that's not the truth.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
From somebody that's talked to a lot of people now, and thousands of people I've talked to, everybody screwed up in some way. Everybody's got problems.
Everybody's got problems. No
Everybody. And you look at social media, and we all bought into it for a while. It's like, this is the perfect, everybody's, that family over there has it all going on. They never have anything. That's not the truth. I think about 35, I realized that everybody has problems, and everybody is trying to work through them, and most people are trying to do the best they can with what they've been given.
Well, I mean, everybody's still trying to keep up with the Joneses.
But
it's worse.
But
now.
I gave that up. I gave that up when I was 30. I don't try to keep up with the Joneses. I want to improve myself every day.
So what happened when you were 35? Like 35, you've said it a few
times. But you're talking personally.
Just in the last 5 minutes, you've said 35.
Well, I think that's the period after 30 when I'll say about 29 or 30, my life was falling apart. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I was going through PTSD, and that's when I had to make a change in my life, or it was not going to continue. I mean, there was about
literally,
but
which is horrible.
Which is horrible to say, because I went through war, and after that, I've always said, after that, everything else is a bonus, because I very easily could not have made it out of Iraq.
Yeah,
no doubt. We all know what happened there.
Yeah, so. And then I had to go through another stage of my life where I had another battle, another war, and every war has been won by somebody. Now, who's going to win it? Are you going to let your demons win it? Are you going to let the bad wolf win it? So I had to go through that, and that's how I went through it. I had to isolate myself, which is bad mentally, but I went through it.
That's how you face it.
That's how I had to face it. And when I came about 35, I say, is when it all started to click with me that
Well, that's a good long while of battling, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I
a
battled.
long battle.
Hey, I'm not going to say I've been through more than I haven't. I've had a blessed life, and God has watched over me.
Was there any one thing that happened about that time that clicked something for you? Or is it just a culmination?
It's just like, things.
5-year culmination.
It's kind of like you figure out that, for me, it's like, things happen. Life is not fair. And you have to keep going. My granddad.
You got to let things go.
You do. And my granddad has always told me, no matter what, when I walk into his house, if it's good or bad or whatever, you just keep going. You just got to get one foot. And he was a depression child, and it's hard to argue with somebody like that that's been through some stuff. But once you go through some stuff, he's like, just keep going, and that's all I did. I've been at the bottom of the barrel. I've been in some dark places, and I've thought some bad thoughts, and I've done some bad things, and I still make mistakes, but you got to keep going. And about 35 is when I clicked, and I said, you know what? What the world or society told me that I was going to be, and this was my path in life. I said, no, I can do something else. I can change the direction of my life, and I can better myself. And that's when I was like, okay, you take a fall, you get back up. You fail, you get back up. And you never stop. I mean, I think a lot of people sell themselves short of their potential.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Now, I do. I think there's a lot of potential in this world. There's a lot of smart people that get bogged down, and I do some days. I mean, I think some days you're here, this is the best you can do, some days. And then maybe next day, right here is the best you can do. And then maybe it goes down here, and maybe it goes right here. But the best you can do is a lot, and you just got to, like I said, like the buffalo on the brand, the buffalo is made for diversity, and that's why it's on the brand. It's like when a snowstorm comes through, you know what a buffalo does, the American buffalo? It's different than most animals in America. The buffalo doesn't shy away from a snowstorm out west. They turn into it.
Yeah, horses turn away from it.
Turn away from it.
They put their butt to it.
Okay, well, a buffalo turns into a snowstorm or a blizzard and walks into it. You know why? For some genetic reason or something.
They're all furry up in the front.
Well, let me tell you, they know for some reason that walking into the storm, they know that walking into the storm will get them out of the storm faster.
Oh, wow.
And the hump on their back and the way their body's made is to plow through the snow if it gets high. They put their nose to the ground and they grind and push and make a plow, and they plow through the storm. And that's what me and Nathan, when we were coming up with this brand about chasing life, it's like the buffalo, the American buffalo. If you're going through shit in your life, if nothing's going right, and most of the time in life, I don't know what this is about life is when it rains, it pours.
No doubt.
And when shit hits, it all hits at once. And I personally try to turn into it and face it and get out the other side as fast as I can. I'm not perfect at it still. If I would have started at 20, I would be a lot better at it. But I started at 30, and it took me to 35 to figure this concept out. If you turn into the storm of life storms,
You gotta hit it head on.
and you get out of them faster.
I love, by the way, that you said shy away. And earlier, like within 5 minutes of you saying shy away, I was thinking of a song called Shy Away that talks about like when you shy away, you're manifesting your own ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you were talking about the topic, I was thinking about the song, which talks about that. You know, it's about overcoming some stuff, and then you say the words "shy away," and that's what the song's called.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
ain't that poetic?
I mean, it. I could be. It's not for everybody, maybe, but it might be. But that's just my experience. I mean, that's just a small part of my life, and I went through a lot before that. I mean, I didn't have the perfect childhood. I had a good childhood. Don't get me wrong. I had a good childhood, but it wasn't like the
Cookie cutter
childhood, and a lot of that. But I really think that most people need to look at their potential, take a look in the mirror, and know they can do more than they're doing. I mean, turn into the storm, get out of it, and there's going to be another storm. It's never ending. I think everybody now wants a perfect life and it's not. You're going to have storms constant. It might be little storms, might be big storms, but you got to turn into them. But you grow.
Just like the storm tomorrow. Could be a 3, could be a 5.
Could be a 3, could be a 5. But, you grow out of it as a person, and you might grow physically, you're going to grow spiritually, but you got to have the right mindset. And if you have a goal in life and your intuition and your gut tells you, I have this and I'm going to aim for that, you got to keep going for it. No matter what gets in your way, you get obstacles in your way, and you just kind of
bump them off.
Or if they come straight on to you, you fight them. I mean, I'm not saying violence or whatever, but I'm saying if they come at you, you got to fight them. If it's a mental thing, if it's a physical thing, it's all kinds of stuff. But
yeah,
do not back down.
These days,
keep going.
These days, the realms you are facing, the opposition, the adversary, it is mental, it is physical, spiritual.
It's all of it.
Yeah, a lot of people right now, frankly,
yeah.
a lot of people right now are facing shit they've never faced.
You
before.
take COVID, you take the human being. As a humans, we are social beings. We are not.
We're not meant to be away from each other like they're making us be
for 10 days.
Yeah,
and I fucking missed you guys, dude.
Hey,
yeah.
I missed you too.
Hey, if you hold yourself up in a house for a year like they did most of the world,
it's not good for mental health.
It's not good for mental health.
I want to hang some people by their fucking toenails. It ain't right. You don't do that to people. That's not how people need to be treated. Especially if they're going through the valley. Right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Especially if they're going through the valley.
If you're talking about people not living up to their potential, though.
Yeah.
The only person I know of that is living up to their potential is like our producer.
He is. That
dude like does so much stuff. He's in the army. He's doing.
Oh man!
In case you're listening to this, you might also be watching this. This is our first. This is our first videoed episode.
Yeah, but
shout out to that.
He's also doing
Mr. Brian Bennett.
And then he's in the Army, he's doing construction, and at the same time, he's also
He found
doing
his
our
mic.
Yeah, I found my mic. He's also doing our podcast and videoing it at the same time.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
This guy.
Look at, I mean, that's
You
all-
showed
Sorry,
up-
I
you
wasn't
showed up.
trying to interrupt your stuff, man.
no.
I was just like sitting there thinking, man.
If you think about it, like Brian, he went to college for this, and he is, I mean, amazing.
Look at us. God sakes.
Well, I mean, he's really good when I can
God
figure
sakes,
out where
look
my
at
mic
us.
is.
I mean, he does a lot of things for a lot of people, but he is excellent at it.
Yeah.
And he should be proud of it. And what it took to get him to right here and to get us to right here,
Oof.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, I thank God has watched over my life, or I would have been dead a long time ago.
I think with the story you,
And that's just I didn't go into detail
yeah,
about a lot. I don't mind to. If you got questions, ask them. But I don't mind to talk about them. But you got to keep going. You can't give up.
I was listening to it. Hey, go ahead and hit me with a spot, dude. I ain't scared, dude. I ain't scared.
You can't taste it anyway.
yeah, you feel a little burn.
It
down your
burns.
throat, and that's it. That's funny.
I escape the sweet, sensual taste, but I get all the burn. It's almost not fair.
I'll tell you
You
this.
think it's an advantage.
I'll tell you
it's
this.
Not.
Me and Nathan came up with me trying to walk 120 miles.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. And I still think it's a goal that can be accomplished
No doubt.
for sure. The first run, 50 miles, and my body and pretty much one knee gave up on me. But I mean, those trails I know those trails like the back of my hand on the north end. And I started at the sun went down, and even though I was on those trails for years, every time I go on the trail alone now, still, I think it's good for people if they will understand this. If you got something weighing on you, if you're working through some stuff, go on the trail alone. And even that night that I started that walk for 50 miles that I made, I had some stuff I was thinking about because, like I said, you're always going through stuff. And I left a lot of stuff on those trails that night by myself. I mean, every 15 miles, there was somebody there to check on me, to, refuel water, I'd eat. But then I'd take off for another 3 or 4 hours by myself. And there's a lot of thinking you do by yourself. And I think that's important, to get away and be in nature and to shed some of that. You got to leave some of that, some of those demons, some of those thoughts. And I did. And every time I go out now by myself, not with somebody else, but by myself, I mean, it's more of a spiritual thing. You're walking, and you know how it is, Monty. Y'all run trails a lot, but
Yeah, but I'm with my wife and
Yeah, but-
dogs. It's a little different.
And
But
we
I
need
mean,
to talk about that sometime.
yeah. But have you ever ran or walked, and then you've ran a mile or a half a mile, and you don't remember because you were thinking about something
oh,
else?
certainly.
And
That happens all the time.
And you worked through some stuff in your head.
Yeah, all the time.
Now, is that working stuff out in your head, or you're working it out in your conscience? It's like, what is your conscience?
I'll even say this: it's not the same. I'm not even gonna act like it's the same. But when we go to Mike Miller, for example, 2 mile trail, we'll take the dog. I mean, there's times we're talking the whole time, and there's times where Cole doesn't say a word. Cole's having his own thing up here for 2 miles straight, and here along the way, she'll ask, "You okay?" "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good." Talking.
You're working stuff
Talking
out.
to myself. Yeah, working stuff out. I mean, it's not the same as
Oh, it is the
I get
same,
it.
though.
In a way, it is.
It
Yeah,
is,
it's
it
not the
is.
same spot. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, it
energy. You're not getting the same. Ground.
Not everybody can go out like me and do 50 miles or spend a whole day on the trail. Not everybody even in this area can, but they can go out in their yards. They can go out on, the road they live on, take a walk, take 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and just be alone, work some stress out, just walk and think. You don't have to run, just be out there and hear nature. Hear nature. Hear yourself more than anything. Say, okay, because we're all battling ourselves in our minds. I don't care what anybody has to say. You're in a battle with yourself, with your conscience. It's like all the time. So you have to take time out to release some of that. And then when you release some of those other stresses in life, if you have a goal, a life you want to chase, it makes it easier. If you need to shed some stuff in your life, that's a good time to do it. Get out there and say, where's my priorities in life? What are my goals? Do I want to be a nurse? Do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be whatever? But you need to do it because life is short. We're on here for a small period of time. And I can look back.
Well, you don't think we're reincarnated?
We could be. I don't know.
I'm playing with you, man. You had a good point. I was just kind of thinking out loud.
The first part of this one wasn't cool.
That was a good. You had a good thesis there.
Yeah.
Get it. Get outside, find some meaning, discover something, talk to yourself, figure some shit out.
Figure some shit out because what you want to be is a better person than you were yesterday. That's what you want to be.
Yeah. Besides Cole.
Yeah, besides
he was a
punk ass.
He was a great person yesterday. Maybe he wants to be worse.
How can you be better?
A few yesterdays ago, I could taste shit.
Oh, yeah, that is true. You are much worse off now.
Yeah, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about life.
But no, you're right. I mean, I'm trying to make light of some.
No, yeah.
But at the same time, you're
fun.
Completely correct.
We're having fun.
You got to chase life. I mean, you got to have a sense of humor too.
That's why we're here. We have a lot of that.
It's why we're here.
Seriously, you have to have a sense of humor.
You got to find the meaning. Some would say chase the meaning in life. Chase it relentlessly. Find that meaning. See it in the distance and chase it. But have fun between here and there.
Because there's stuff that's going to happen in between here and there that if you don't have a sense of humor, if you don't have some grit, you're not going to make it. So you have to have a sense of humor when things come up in life. You have. Now, I'm not saying it's funny. I'm just saying.
Right.
You have to say.
I'm just saying.
Gosh, damn.
I'm just saying. I'm gonna spit. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna bleed. But I'm gonna get between here and there.
I don't get up every day. Most days I get up early and spend some time.
Some days
I get up early and I spend some time alone before the world hits, before the sun comes up, and I spend some time alone, cup of coffee, before the world hits, before the emails hit, before the text messages hit, and
what time you get up, I'm gonna start sending you text messages.
Hey, I'm up between 5:45 and 6 every day.
You. I'm not up that early.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna start sending you texts and calling.
Dude, I'm up at 4:30 on day shifts. Get real.
Yeah.
Are you even chasing that?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But you have to get up, and some days you're not gonna like it.
You ain't kidding.
I mean,
what about every day?
That's what they say about.
What if I don't like it any day?
That's what they say about motivation. Motivation is just like the Kickstarter. It's like the spark plug, and determination and discipline is what is the fuel and the catalyst to get you where you were. Motivation goes away.
You ain't kidding.
Motivation is I love motivation. I even love false motivation. I love it. But that comes from the military side of it.
Arguably the best kind.
But determination and discipline is where you make a pattern in your life. The rhythm, when you find the rhythm of life, your life, that's where you will succeed.
Have you found it? You want to show me?
No.
I'm still fucking looking.
No, you're I mean, you have to, individual thing. I mean,
It is. I used to lift all the time. Get up early to go lift. Really love it. That discipline, doing it. Kind of got out of it in the last couple of years, but love it when I'm doing it. The discipline and just, still run, still love exercising, love trail running, that sort of thing. But getting up really early, lifting, man, there's nothing actually better in my opinion.
no.
Once you do it and you have that discipline, man, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's tough to beat once you start doing
Yeah.
it.
I think ideas. Let me think about this. Your ideas in life, which I think should be, you have a closed hand and you have an open hand of your opinions. You have some things. I have some things that I've thought about for years that you're not going to change my mind over. And there are very few things. And then I have things in this open hand that are the rest of the opinions of the world that when you talk to people, try to change my mind. That's how I come about every conversation, not a stone wall. And so your ideas kind of become behaviors. And your behaviors become habits. And your habits become your future. And you set a pattern. And
Boy, it's pretty deep.
well, a lot of people get into that. A lot of people have bad habits, bad behaviors, and we all do. We all do. And you have to have the mindset to say, "Oh, I'm going too far this way. I got to bring it in the lines."
That's a good point.
If you think of it as a roadway, if you stay in there, you can bounce around, but you don't want to hit the ditch. You don't want to hit the yellow line. So you got to watch because your idea, it all comes from an idea, and then it becomes an opinion, and then the opinion becomes a behavior, and then your behavior becomes a habit, and then habits become your future. That's just me. But if you think about that, it's like, ooh, I'm going this way, I need to go back that way. Ooh. Seriously. So if you take your ideas and you really think about them and you keep an open mind, because you could be, in this day and age, you got to keep your ideas open and your opinions open because they could become behaviors.
I think we're all pretty open-minded.
And they could
people,
you could become a habit. And then.
Well, I'm never becoming a habit. My wife will even tell you that.
Yeah. That's a good thing about having a good spouse.
That is true.
Yeah. To rein you in.
Isn't that right, Cole?
Yes, ma'am. I know you're listening. Yes, ma'am. I love you.
Does anybody have any wisdom? We always end the show with some wisdom.
Monty, what you got?
Don't take a wooden nickel.
Don't.
Or is that a pickle?
Or a pickle.
Ooh, take neither.
Oh.
Cole, you bet on
Cole's always got something to
I think I got something. I've been listening to y'all for a minute.
Yeah. Come on.
You know what? I think there's a lot to be said about the quality of the journey, what you can gain each footstep. Whether it's running, whether it's walking, whether it's tiptoeing, whether it's fucking struggling.
Yeah.
You're going to get something out of it. And you're going to take it with you the rest of the way, and you're going to grow. And frankly, a lot of us don't see that these days. Mm-hmm. You were talking about that earlier. Social media, regular media, whatever the fuck that is these days. Mm-hmm. You don't see that a lot, Yeah. You don't see real life through a lens anymore. Mm-mm. And that's a problem, but it's also a reason to get out there and see it for yourself. Mm-hmm. And one thing that, you know, I hope we do here, and you know, I'm the younger one of the three, but I hope that the three of us do is we, you know, we inspire, we motivate, we educate, whatever, to get out there and see it for yourself through your own lens.
That's right.
So maybe get out there and see it through your own lens. That's my wisdom.
I like it too.
My wisdom that I took from this moment, that if you're listening, maybe you also got some version of
What
it.
I like, and it's because of what you've said and what you just said, reiterating the whole introvert thing. It just get out there and actually meet people and do something.
That's right.
I mean, people help you.
Yeah. I can't say anything better than what Cole said tonight, but all I can say is don't fucking give up. And
Never.
If
That's
you
it,
do,
brother.
Never.
message us and we'll walk you through it. And we'll see you next time, folks. Life Chaser out.
Fuck, I gotta piss.
Again?
Yes.